Bienvenue back. Bienvenue à la podcast de M Avec du Cafe. I am Marshall. That stands for one of the M's, and the other M stands for
Michaela.
And so we're gonna hit it off. We're both Americans, right? We're Americans.
Yes,
we're born here. I like to do labels off the top because I always want to know somebody's label beforehand. I just like to get a general ballpark idea of who this person is. Obviously, I'm an English speaker. I've spoken English as a first language, but I grew up with French with relatives. Most of my family spoke French as first language. Anyway, so experienced many cultures. All right, now today we're going to talk about addiction. Both of us have histories of hard drugs, and for myself, definitely addiction type shit. And it's strange that both of us, Michaela don't give a fuck. Her opinion is her opinion. She don't match up or put herself in a box about any issues. And we almost have identical opinions by coincidence on this.
Well, yeah, I'm not a drug addict myself. My brother's an ex-heroin addict now, but he still uses substances, and my dad's an alcoholic. My grandfather's an alcoholic. I have a lot of drug addiction in my family, so it's something I'm very familiar with.
All right.
And I've been to rehab too, but it was for other things, but I learned a lot about other sorts of addiction behaviors while I was there.
Let's just say we're very experienced on this issue.
Yes.
Okay, so
uncomfortably so.
Here's the golden question. Here's the whole debate. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You was a G when you got on it. You need to be a G getting off of it. So the other school of thought versus the other school of thought, version B, is addiction is a disease and people can't help it.
That's a cop-out. It is. It's a cop-out. You know what? At some point, you chose to do that. You did. People say that. It's like nobody chose to get cancer. Nobody chooses to get cancer. Now, granted, people are more predisposed to stuff like that. Just like I'm a high-risk cancer. I found out that recently from my family. But it's more of a preventative thing. It's just like, and I've always been hyper aware too of my family. My mom would always say that, oh, you got a lot of there's a lot of addiction in our family and there's a lot of alcoholism, so you got to be careful. And that's always been in the back of my head, so it's like, I think I've just always been super aware of it, even when I was having a lot of fun doing drugs. I did a lot of drugs when I was younger. I did a lot of drugs up until a few years ago.
Yes, but in the time that I've known you, which has been about 6 years, you really haven't been what I would call a junkie. Your problem is alcohol more than drugs, I've found. And
alcohol leads to drugs. Anytime I did like coke or anything, that was always fueled by alcohol. Yes. Never when I was sober was like, let's go get a bag of coke and have a heart attack.
Yes. And now, in my history, I was putting needles, intravenous drugs. My old motto was, I'll do any drug as long as I can shoot it up. And my belief, is that you chose to fucking were you drug raped? Did someone chloroform you and fucking shoot you up with heroin? If that's the case, then it is not your fault. But 99.9% of the time, even
if somebody else is shooting the heroin up in your arm because it's the first time you've done it, it's still a consensual thing. You still have agreed to it.
Now,
people want that. They're like, no, you do it.
I also respect the complexity of the human brain, and yes, I believe very strongly that some people are more predisposed to be more addicted to things because of the wiring of their brain. Absolutely. There are some people that please God, Nirvana's daughter, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love's daughter.
Frances Bean.
Frances, if you ever hear this podcast, please don't do any hard drugs because you are genetically loaded, girl.
She probably already has. I mean,
you are genetically loaded.
Not to accuse anybody of doing drugs.
And then other people just are less addictive. It takes more drugs for a longer period of time, and they have a better chance at coming back. I guess you would say in like redneck terms, like strong will. Strong will.
Well, and the big thing too is it's all really the way you got to focus on doing stuff is just one day at a time. If you think about like, I can't do anything for this long, it's like just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
That's real. I mean, if I got anything out of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I didn't, not really. I mean, I like daily readings and stuff, but I don't. Since I'm an atheist, it's kind of like weird for me, and I'm not a 12-step person. But one thing I have learned is it's a day-by-day thing. So when you're staying clean, you wanna just take it day by day, because if you don't, you're gonna get overwhelmed and be more tempted to relapse. And I've been sober for almost 8 months. So, there's my laundry.
Okay, now I do think also to end off the podcast that I do take mercy on people, and I do know how hard it is. And I'm not going to make the excuse, but okay, what about this though? Some people with addictive personalities are predisposed to genetically be addicted to certain types of drugs. Like I'm definitely a downer person. Dude, you could put a mound of cocaine in front of me and naked bitches and be like, you're taking 3 weeks off of work and we're on a yacht cruise and you're going to eat fresh fish from the sea. I'm not touching that. Maybe the first night I might do like a line, but no, I don't think I'd do any of it. I think I'd just be like, give me some weed and some booze and shut the up. You know what I mean? Like I still will occasionally crave it. Like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times a year I'll have like a craving. The craving on a full moon. I had the opposite because it always made me so sick because I have a super sensitive stomach, and I've known that since I had my tonsils out when I was 11, and they gave me Lortab, I think, and it just made me like I threw it up so much I had to be put back on IV hydration. So yeah. That's never changed. Like even any other surgeries I've had, I've always had to like take anti-nausea pills with the opioid painkillers. So like you're literally predisposed genetically to probably not favor opiates
at all.
Yeah. And there's a case of that. And I have anxiety, born anxiety. And so speed brings out my anxiety. Actually, coffee I have to be careful about how much. I can only have like 2, maybe 3 cups. Got to call it good after that, Now, weed, of course, I could have lots of weed for some reason. It doesn't. The only thing it does make me a little too lazy and spaced out, but I also get creative. So, point is, Marshall's going to come in strong with, yes, you did the drug, except in cases where they have alcoholic cultures with kids, like in the United States and Europe. Yeah, son, get you a beer. You're 15. You're a man now.
Although you can't blame the opioid. You can't blame the opioid crisis for shit though either too, because that's because of overprescription of painkillers and people just prescribing them too much, and then these people get addicted to them because it's being prescribed by a doctor. It's not necessarily some back alley. Hey man, do you want to shoot up some heroin? Drug addiction doesn't really start like that anymore. But it is true. I mean, certain drug addicts and alcoholics, it's like, yeah, you chose to drink at some point. But, now it's harder to say that about opioids because a lot of people were prescribed them. Like, hey, I injured myself.
Yes.
And then I got prescribed these things, and these doctors were just so liberal with the amount of shit they were prescribed.
Yes, they still do. The good news, if you are addicted, if you are a junkie or an opiate or whatever, cocaine, whatever it is you're addicted to, benzodiazepines, alcohol, whatever it is, the good news is that if you can beat it and get clean, that means you can do anything in life. There is no harder thing to do outside of mourning the loss of the death of a child. But that's number 2 in the whole world of things that you could overcome in your mind and your body. So that's like serious mind-body shit. If you could do it, basically drug addicts are hero factories. It makes you a hero. We can mass produce these heroes. Just overcome it if you can.
But relapse is also part of recovery, so most people who are drug addicts relapse at some point in their life too.
All too true. But anyway, I need a hero. Thank you for listening.